and welcome back. In my last video I showed you on how I create an HDR photograph, an HDR image, and what I do to final retouch it in Adobe Photoshop. Now this short little tutorial is supposed to show you on how I retouch the photograph just using Adobe Lightroom. Alright, let's get started. So in my last episode I used the normal exposed, the underexposed, and the overexposed photograph to merge all the three photographs, or all of the three pictures, and merge them to an HDR photograph. In this one I would like to just retouch this image here. It's the normal exposed photograph, and I would like to show you on how I do that. Alright, now first copy it. So I'm gonna right click and say create virtual copy. Here we go. Now I have the raw file that I've imported into Adobe Lightroom, and I have a copy, and you can see that here, copy one. I'm gonna reset everything and start from scratch. Now the most important part is happening over here in Adobe Lightroom. I adjust all the sliders, not all, but most of the sliders to the right hand side. The biggest effect happens with the four sliders here: highlights, shadows, whites, and blacks. I start playing with the sliders, so sometimes I decrease the highlights, increase the shadows, decrease the whites, increase the blacks. That's actually likewise decrease the whites and decrease the blacks. In this I'm gonna decrease the highlights, increase the shadows, now increase the whites, which gives them this super glowy glow over here. This is what I often do when I take night shots. I decrease the highlights, increase the shadows, increase the whites, and now I'm going to decrease the blacks. And for this I'm going to use a little trick. I'm going to hit the alternate key, left click, and go all the way down, and whatever turns black in this photograph is turning black, really. I could do the same, by the way, with whites. See here, I see which parts of the photograph is gonna be exposed, and I sometimes go really over the top because I kind of like the glowy situation over here or here. So maybe I'm going to increase the shadows here a little bit as well. Cool, great. Now let's play with the contrast and see what it does. Bring contrast down a little bit because I think that's going to add darkness to it, and that's going to add brightness to it. And see here, the brightness, this is too fuzzy, so can't do it all the way down, so I'm going to decrease it just a little bit. Cool. Now the same I'm going to do with clarity. What does clarity do? That's too harsh. It's like over here, I don't like it. Over here, I don't like it either. I don't like what it does to the water, so let's bring that back. Hey, by the way, if you move the slider, and if you want to zero this slider, just simply double click on the label, and it's gonna go back where initially it came from. Bring it maybe a little bit down. Right. Now I'm going to deal with the white balance. So I'm going to bring that to the bluish kind of part. And I'm going to increase the tint, so I'm going to increase it a little bit, going to the magenta part. I kind of like that. The way down here, I like the yellow, magenta, blue transaction down there. Right. Cool. Now I only touched so far all the sliders here. And the difference, where's the history? Here's the history. Now this is where we started. It's a pretty big difference, and this is where we currently are. Yep, it's gonna take a while. I should get a new computer, but eventually it's gonna show up. Here we go. Now that's quite a huge big difference, I think. Now what I don't like is the blue. It's okay, but I think, first of all, I think we gotta desaturate the photograph a little bit. And now we're gonna go down here to the colors adjustment pane, and we're gonna bring the hue over to the aqua, not the hue blue selection. We're gonna bring that over to the aqua part. Cool. Now we're gonna play with saturation, desaturate it a little bit, and do the same with luminance. Great. Cool. Like that. Now, as you can see, I shot this photograph at ISO 200, 24mm f9, and it took me 6 seconds. Now, ISO 200 means that the photograph is a little blurry, so there's a lot of noise in the photograph itself. You can see that if you're going to zoom in here. See, there's actually quite a lot of noise. And down here, now in the details part, you're able to correct that, so you can do the noise reduction at like 32. I would also like to sharpen the photograph, especially here and here. For this, I'm going to increase the sharpening slider quite a bit, like 80–90%. The problem now is, if I'm going to zoom in, it's going to bring back the noise. As you can see here, it's too noisy. And what I would like to do, I just said that I only would like to have the sharpening here and here. Therefore is this masking slider. All right, now click alternate, select the slider. It's going to turn white, and now move everything to the right. Now everything that is turned black is not going to be sharpened. All right, cool. So here now we have to increase noise reduction a little bit. Yeah, that's okay. That's really okay. Here we go. Now we have sharpened the bridge and the broken pier, and we have not sharpened the sky here. Kind of like that. My last video showed how I got rid of this building and how I got rid of this boat. I can do the same here by clicking this little buddy here, or click it again, use R for resize. Now we're gonna bring that over and start cropping the photograph. Bring that down, bring that over, and here we go. Cool, cool. Pretty cool. Now, last but not least, down here we have a vignetting effect, right? I would like to have the eye focusing in the middle of the photograph, not the outside, so therefore I can add a cropping. And let's see here, if I'm going to bring that all the way down, I have my vignetting. It's too heavy, so you know, double click in it and bring it down just a little bit. See what that does. Okay, reverse that. The roundness I can change, and also the feathering and how strong it is supposed to be from the very outside, see here, to the inside. The feathering, you know, this is a straight line. This is not what we want. At least I don't want that. Let's bring that a little down here. Cool. Yeah, this is another version of the photograph. Sometimes I mix those two photographs. I'm gonna, take the HDR one and take this one and combine them. But in this case, I kind of like both, and I just wanted to give you an option on what I do. HDR, using 3 photographs, using using Photomatix, or just giving it the same, more or less the same look, just using Adobe Lightroom. Right, I hope you have enjoyed, and see you soon. I wanted to end the tutorial here at this point, but there's a few things I don't like so far. First is the horizon. I think it's a little off. We're going to correct that by clicking here and clicking to the angle button. I'm going to draw a straight line from the top to the bottom of this bridge. Either it's straight or it's a little off, I think. Correct. All right, now hit enter. That's not what bothers me the most. There's 2 things. First of all, this the purple color in the lines of the bridge itself. They have to go away, and it's a little too dark down here. And maybe I'm gonna readjust the glowy situation because I cut it off. Okay, let's first get rid, or try to get rid of the purple oversaturation. So let's go back down here to the saturation part. Here we go, and bring down purple. Cool. See the difference? Now I have all the purple in here. Now if I'm gonna desaturate it. Cool. Cool. Like that. Great. Now it's looks just a little better than it looked before. Now what we're gonna do, I'm gonna get one of the graduated filter, and I'm gonna bring in from bottom to top. If I'm gonna bring that in from bottom to top, if I'm gonna hover over, you see what areas will be affected. Right now all the sliders are 0. If I'm gonna move a slider, it's gonna only affect the bottom part. So if I'm gonna increase exposure, this is what's gonna happen. And again, double click on the slider itself and it's gonna be back to 0. I said that I would like to bring in a little bit of highlights down here, or actually I would like to get a different exposure, so I'm gonna bring that up quite a bit. Right now I'm looking at the broken pier here. Maybe we're gonna add a little bit of contrast, just a little bit. Cool. Maybe a little bit of yellow as well. Cool, great. I think we're done. I'm gonna hit close, and now the pier seems to be, it's too much. Let me go back, click on it, select it, and bring it back a little. Here we go. But still the pier now looks okay, while the rest one is a little overexposed. And for this, I'm gonna, choose the adjustment brush, click on it, get the exposure way to the right, so I see where I brush. So if I'm gonna, see here, if I'm gonna brush here, that's the result. Yeah, that's great. I'm gonna delete that, and I'm gonna, hang on. We're gonna bring down feather intensity to like 50%. Increase it a little bit and brush now to the areas that we would like to bring down, and of course 4 is not where we want to go. Bring that down a little bit and bring it maybe slightly to the yellow part. Cool, like that. Now the glowy part over here, I kind of miss this glowy thing I had before. I had to cut it away because of the building that was there. I'm gonna click new. Again, the exposure is now to 4. I'm gonna brush through the part that I want to change. All right, now let's bring that. That's too much. Way too much. A little bit with saturation. A little bit with moderation. Here we go. Cool. Let me close that. That's too eye-catching. So again, I'm going to click on this, hit right-click, say delete. I think this is better that way. Cool. Now, the only part that bothers me a little bit is the upper left corner. There's something missing, so maybe we should brighten up the photograph a little bit, not that much. And bring that over to the yellowish kind of part. Great. Cool. Cool. All right, now I think this, voila, this is it.